What is up, everyone? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today, it is high time for us to get an update on the Kaspa price action. All right, before we begin, I must warn everyone that this absolutely is not financial advice. If you take this as financial advice, you will be like the many knobheads that end up poor, broke, destitute, and looking like a fool as you are standing in the welfare line. Okay, welfare line. That's not funny. But it kind of is. It's very true. I have to say that because so many people want the absolute answer on what the price is going to be, where it's going to go, and then when they get that absolute answer and the crypto does the exact opposite thing, they get mad at the person who is reporting. So I am going to tell you my opinion and what appears to be obvious to me on this chart, but it does not mean that it's going to absolutely play out that way. But I think you will have to agree with me in this determination that I am about to make upon this chart, which, without saying a word, I think you can tell where this is coming. But before we start on this one-day chart, let's back that thing up like, who was that? Who said that? To back that thing up, I believe that was Juvenile. We're going to look at this 4-hour chart first. And on the 4-hour, what I want to point out is that we have had nothing but side banding action that takes us all the way back to the beginning of what? Let's see here. Let me get a date for you. This is back on the 9th of December. So let's draw a box around this lengthy area and let's contain it all. And you will notice that it's all centered around this volume cluster on the VPVR. That stands for volume profile in the visible range. So with the range of price action on this chart, this is the volume of buying and selling at every price point, where it is centered on the point of control, the balance point, which happens to be right at 10 cents, 10.8 cents. In the last update that I gave you, which was back before this side banding started, because honestly, I've had nothing to report to you since then, because we're just doing boring side banding. It's a consolidation move. It's a build up for the next breakout. And I'll tell you which way that breakout is going to go. But now that we have hit a critical point and broken a critical level, which we'll get to on the next chart, we can call the direction of that breakout. So the stochastic is at the bottom. It still looks bearish. The blue line is under the orange line. We also have a very bearish MACD set of oscillators with the blue line under the orange line. We were starting to print light red on the histogram bars, and now it's gone back to solid red. That means that we are reinforcing the negative momentum in the current direction. Forgive me if I cough through the video. I'm still getting over the nasty cold that I had. It is very cold here in Missouri. We had a freezing spell last week with sub-zero temperatures and freezing pipes, and it's cold again today after we got a little bit of a break. All right, well, let's clear this out and talk about the one-day chart so we can expose this next move. All right, here is your one-day chart. And as you can see, I've got some lines on the chart. Now, we had this upper blue line, this one right here, and we had this lower blue line, this one right here. Now, as we made it to the end here, we had a very aggressive red candle form breaking off of this upper blue line that I drew on here a month ago. It's interesting how when I draw lines based on certain reasons, we can call it technical analysis. And I know you got the people out there that love to cry and complain and say technical analysis doesn't work. So keep crying and complaining all you want. but we're going to call it chart reading. We're going to call this the determination of direction based on evidence from the chart. We're getting a feeling for the chart. And for those of you who don't believe in technical analysis, watch a lot of videos out there and you'll see people saying, I have a feeling that this crypto is going to moon. I have a feeling this thing is going to 10x. Guess what? Technical analysis is based on exactly that. Feelings, which are human emotions. And if you don't believe me, go look up the Fibonacci sequence in nature. And you're going to see that things that we do as a society, human beings, tend to come in waves based on ebbs and flows of the emotions. Okay? Little tidbit for the non-believers. But getting back to the topic, we are sitting at a critical point on the secondary blue line, and this is where I call for the bearish break to strengthen. Here's the reason why. We see that the big volume node up here, which was at a price point of 12.8 cents, we're dropping below that. We also see that the next biggest node was right here at a price point of approximately 11.2. We went below that. The last of these larger nodes is right here. And guess what the price point is of this one? It's around 10 cents. The current price of Kaspa is now at 9.9 cents. So we broke that. Now, we have not closed the candle, but if we close it below this volume node here, then we should look to see further momentum downward. And I'll tell you why. It's the evidence that comes below this chart that reinforces this call. All right, which could be wrong because all it takes is one big whale who's got a hankering to buy a couple million, 10 million Kaspa, 100 million Kaspa, and this thing could go straight up in the air and ruin this natural progression of the price. But barring big whales coming in to buy, we see a very bearish stochastic that peaked here, corresponding with this peak. See how simple this is? Then it goes down, corresponding with the price dip. We had a fake out of a cross over here, and it unfurled and went very aggressively south. Notice how far the blue line is away from the orange line. Do you see that? That's a confirmation of the strength of the downward momentum. That's why I'm thinking price is going to do this. And I'll tell you where I think it's going. We've got some good possibilities that are sticking out like a sore thumb on the chart. Now, also, we had our big peak that corresponded with the all-time high, all right? And then we start to trend downward with the oscillators on the MACD. We had a low point and a crossover here, but we didn't come up and recover much from it. We had a couple humps in the green. And now look, it's also solid red on the histogram and bearish direction on the oscillators with the blue line below the orange line. Take that for what it's worth. Now let's talk price targets. Let's clear out all of this action, and I'll tell you what I expect to see. Let's first take this red line that I had here. This is a channel that I had drawn, okay? And so let's just extend this on so we can see something that's very interesting. And what we see is that the extension of this red line coincides with this blue line, which is the pivot point. So that would be a secondary confirmation that going below the blue line, which also takes us below the ascending channel, confirms the strength of the bearish move. So where do we land? Here's where we land. We have the green boxes that indicate prior support and resistance zones. And so we're looking at getting into this green box right here. Now, the top of the green box could become support. And that's at 9 cents, but I don't think we're going to hold there. We do have a volume node in the middle of the box that's at 8.6 cents, which is the next weaker possibility for a landing point. But I think The greater possibility, the most probable landing point is at the bottom of this support resistance zone because it coincides with this bottom end of the upward sloping trading channel and the 200 EMA line. Do you see that 200 EMA creeping up? Isn't that a coincidence that this bottom point would be the convergence of three different things? All right, so that's the greatest probability. The bottom of this line, which would be about 8 cents. We can look for that. Now, the next lower probability, I might say this first one could be 75%. This next one is maybe a 50% probability. It's in the cards, and that would be heading all the way down to the second green box of support and resistance. So that would take us all the way down here. And I'm going to tell you why. This is the reason why. Let me give you the evidence. Number one, you have a volume node that sits right here just above 6 cents. So if we fail this volume node at 8.6 cents, we're going to get sucked down through this slip zone where the volume nodes are smaller, and we'll gravitate towards the next node. We also have the formation of what I was looking at as a bear flag. Look at this flag here. Let's make this in blue, as a matter of fact, so we can see it. We have a pole, and then we have the flag that's like this. It's just the opposite of a bull flag. And so what I did before, I put this blue line right here. Do you see this blue line here? There's a reason I have that there. It's because it represents the depth of the breakout of this if this bear flag is what I think it is. So when we take this out and we put it at the tip here, look where that ends up. Okay, you got that? And so if this is going to come to fruition, we're going to be seeing a 6 cents Kaspa right there, at which I will buy some for swing trading. Now I've got 102,000, so I'm good. I don't really need to buy any more. But if we hit 6 cents, I might get, say, 10,000 just to, unload later on once we recover and go to 25 cents, which is the next step up. And then I'll take that and plow it into something else. It's an opportunity. All right. Now, if we happen to fail 6 cents, you see what the absolute bottom can be. It's right here in the very last green box of support and resistance. There it is right there. Notice that the bottom of that box sits on the point of control price. So the bottom of this box magically is at 4.4 cents. The top of that box is at 5.1 cents. There have been some people saying 5 cents. So is it probable? No. Is it possible? Yes, it is. No matter what happens, we're probably going to see the bounce happen in one of these zones that I've presented to you, barring, like I said, some big whale coming in to get 100 million and shooting this thing up to 25 cents now, because that's still possible. It is possible. So keep that in mind. Now, let's see if the 1 week chart can tell us anything, and then we are done. And then I'm going to give you a preview of some upcoming videos. Oh, look at that. Confirmation. Okay. And I've also got some super thanks that I want to shout some people out. All right. This is an absolute confirmation of what we just talked about. We're sitting at the line here. We can see the big volume node right there at 8.6 cents. But here we see a stronger case for falling all the way to 5 because we have a slip zone that goes all the way down to this big volume node, which is at the top of that support resistance zone at 5.1 cents. The other thing that we're looking at that is very bearishly indicating us in the face, two things. We had the fake out of the recovery crossover, and now the oscillators have crossed over bearish where the blue line is below the orange line. It is pointing south. And we have confirmation crossover of the lagging oscillators on the MACD and a red bar on the histogram. I've been talking about this for a long time. When we were way up here at the top, I said, hey, it can't go vertical forever. It will correct. And for those of you that did not get a chance to jump in, you will get your chance, even though it might not be buying at 0.004 like I did, but you'll get your chance. And for those of you that got stuck and stranded at 14 cents, don't despair. Just don't look at the chart for the next few months. It'll come back. If you deploy patience, you're going to win. Don't panic sell and jump out. If you bought into that FOMO vertical move, boy, oh boy, you're just going to have some grit about yourself and hang on for the ride. Okay, now let's see here. Preview. I'm going to give a comparison between two different cryptos. This is your big clue here. The answer to what I told you in the last video, that I was going to give you something for those of you that missed out on Kaspa. There's going to be two coins that I am going to compare, and they are Kaspa and Teraxa. Okay? For the longest time, I was not a believer in Teraxa because I believed the FUD against it. Now, Simon, my good man, Simon, who lives right here in Jefferson City. Shout out to you, Simon. Yay! Simon told me about Teraxa at first, and he said that this was like the proof of stake version of Kaspa. And then there's certain YouTubers that claim that it's a blatant copy-paste version of Kaspa. And so I stayed away from it for that reason, and I just believed that. But I actually did some due diligence and did some research, and I found that statement of this being a copy-paste project to be false. I will explain it in the Kaspa versus Teraxa video, and you will see it in plain sight why Teraxa is not a copy-paste project. You will see what its purpose is, which is not the same purpose as Kaspa. They don't serve the same purposes. They do have overlap. But they're not the same. And then I'll explain why I believe that, yes, the developers that made Teraxa found their inspiration through Kaspa, and it is a block DAG, but there were other sources of inspiration, and it's not a blatant copy-paste. Teraxa is sitting at 1 cent, and it's going south. And I'm going to tell you what, you might be able to get into Teraxa at half a cent. So for those of you that missed the bandwagon of Kaspa and you want something that has maybe similar potential, maybe not as big of a potential as Kaspa, but you want a 100 bagger or something like that, stick with me for the Kaspa versus Teraxa explainer video where I reveal all my due diligence. This is a freebie that I'm giving to you as a preview to the paid group, where I'm going to finally start the paid group and be giving you microcap gems, small cap gems, and swing trading advice, basic training, updates, spreadsheets, and all of the information that I collect that supports the moves that I'm making in crypto. So I'm going to throw you a few to give you value so you can start to save up. And there's going to be a 50% right off the bat for the first 50 that join. It's going to be 50% off the price. And after 50 days or 30 days, then the price is going to go double of that to the normal price. But I want to give the first 50 loyal people who have told me that they're waiting in line so they can jump in. I want to give them the cheapest price, and they'll be able to lock in for good at that lower price. And after that, I'm going to raise the price in order to keep it manageable and not get too many people, the cheapskates who want to pay and then complain and don't want to really dig in and double check on all the research that I do. We want to scare them away. So that's why eventually I'll have to raise the price. All right. So look forward to that. And next, I need to shout out some fantastic people who have been supporting the channel for so long, and they're going to get some bonus information. In fact, one of them already did. I think I sent the master spreadsheet to my man Anthony. So here are the super thanks shout out. We have first Crazy Mofo 22 with a super thanks of $5. Thank you, my man Crazy Mofo. Next we have Scotty Z with a super thanks of $2. Thank you, Scotty Z. And we got my man South 97 North with the big fat super thanks of $10. Thank you very much, South 97 North. I'm going to make a list of everybody who has been giving me super thanks, the supporters. There's some other great ones that are on the list. We got Malice. That's my guy right there. Shout out to Malice. The Biggest Bro, Jeffrey Byron Dennis. Man, you know I've got love for you, my brother. Mitchell Locklear. There's been people. Sarah is a major supporter. Chosen. We got Carl #2. We got Woody. All of you guys, I need you to check in. Marvin Witt, I need y'all to check into the Telegram group because I got to get your emails and get organized because I'm going to send you a thank you. I've got some stuff for you right now because you have supported me for so long. And then from this point, anyone else who is interested, please check in with the Telegram group. And when I have everything set up, I'll be able to give you instructions of what to do at that point. In the next video, we will talk more about the Bitcoin price action, and I'll probably be clowning because I'm going to be trolling. We did have a little fat mouth troller in the comments that we're going to roast in the next video. I'm not here to cater to people who don't enjoy my humor. I'm just being me. For those of you who don't know me, I like to act silly. This is my personality, and I'm not acting. I say I like to act silly, but the thing is, I'm not acting. This is my real personality because this is draining. This is hard to do. I can't act because when you're playing the role of someone you're not and you're trying to use a voice that is really not yours and trying to be like some other big mouth YouTubers, it drains your energy. It's hard enough to do this. And the best way for me to do it and to keep up with it is just to be myself. And so that means you're going to get a lot of silly videos where I do a lot of stupid things. I thank you for all of the continuous support. And most of all, I would absolutely love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And I thank you in advance for the giving, for the donations that help me to produce the channel. That is all I've got. This is Carlton. I'm out.